Alright, g'day guys, welcome back to Aussie Arvos. Today we are doing a head-to-head comparison on a $1,200 Engel fridge versus a $600 King's fridge.
So we've got the watt meter here, so we're going to be measuring which one draws the most power, which one gets to -1 first, and which one's going to stay coolest.
Yeah, and we're also just going to give you our takes on our experiences with the fridge. Obviously we've had one a lot longer than the other, but yeah, let's get straight on into it. Alright, so to really test these fridges against each other, what we're doing is we've got them both here. They're both currently at 16 degrees. We're going to set them both to their coldest setting, which on this is just a cold reference. On that, it's -18. So set them both to the cold, and pretty much we're going to be seeing which one gets to -1 first, whilst also monitoring the power draw. That way we can actually get an idea of which fridge is working more efficiently, this, that, the other. So whack them on to freezing, and let's go.
Alright, so this is my King's 45 litre fridge. I got this a year ago off the boys, and it's honestly pretty good for what it is. This is the 45 litre variant, and it can go from 8 degrees to -18 degrees. And surprisingly, it keeps everything pretty damn cold. It weighs about 20 kilos, so it's a little heavy, but it's not too bad. And it was 550 bucks from Super Center. And that came with the case and everything. One of the main differences between this and the Engel is this is completely plastic, basically all over it, which isn't horrible. It makes it a little lighter, but it is plastic, like it wouldn't be as durable. And the design is slightly different. This has got like an egg holder in it, and it isn't as deep as the Engel is. So as a budget fridge, it's actually really good. I wouldn't look past King's at all. I'd buy another one if I had the chance. They're good, they keep stuff cold, they work. Honestly, been real happy with it. So it'll be interesting to see how it compares to the Engel in terms of power consumption. So yeah.
Alright, so this is an Engel MT45 fridge. This is the 40th anniversary edition. My family's had this fridge for 15 years. It's bought in 2005. At that current time, this was a $1,200 fridge. This fridge has been like pretty much all over the country. We've used it countless times on long trips, sitting in the back of the patrol. Also, I've used it a fair bit in my tray, and I suppose it sort of speaks for itself. I mean, it's never skipped a beat, always works. Only thing we've ever had to replace is the batteries on the thermometer reader. So that's the thing with these fridges. When you are paying a bit more, you're getting that quality and that sort of assurance that it's going to go the distance. As for how it's built, all the externals is metal, and then we got the cover with it, which has been really durable. Sat out in the weather and everything on my car, and it's been fine. Yeah, honestly, it's a grouse fridge. Engel have a very reputable name, and you can see why. Once you own one and you've had it for this long, you know, you understand why everyone talks about them so highly. Alright, so it's been about 26 minutes. The Engel has just gone down to 9.6 degrees, and the King's is currently sitting at 12. Now, we've been watching this power draw reader, and the Engel's been sitting at a steady 30 watts the whole time, which is good. So we're gonna switch over the power draw and then monitor the King's fridge for the next, 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so, and we'll give you another update when we get some more temperature droppage. Alright, so we've just swapped them over. As you just saw before we swapped, the Engel was sitting at 30 watts draw, and we've just swapped, and the King's is now drawing 61 watts, which that's a 100% increase. That's a lot. And this is still warmer than the Engel going by the thermometers. So, I don't know, at this stage, this is definitely looking like it's more efficient and cooling better. So, we'll keep watching them and we'll see what happens.
Alright, update. So, 5.5, 6 degrees. The King's fridge is catching up. Still drawing 55 watts, so a heap of power, but it is catching up. So at 4 degrees, we'll switch them again and just make sure that this definitely is using more power. Alright, so just past 4 degrees, so now we're reading what the Engel's drawing, and it's only drawing 35 watts. So King's was drawing 55 before, so nearly like an 80% decrease in power usage on the Engel. So quite impressive. The King's is at 3 degrees, this says 3.8 degrees, so they're neck and neck at the moment, but this is literally using 80% less power. So we're going to keep monitoring as we go down, and we'll give you an update. Alright, so update, very sort of unexpectedly, the King's fridge is now at -6 degrees and the Engel is at 1.2 degrees. So that's a huge difference. The King's fridge is still drawing 50 or so watts, so I suppose in that aspect it probably makes sense that it's cooler if it's drawing double the power. Alright, so we're a bit skeptical as to whether the measurement we were getting here was actually true, just because it dropped so quickly. I wasn't sure if it was realistic. So I've just dropped a thermometer into the water we've got sitting in the bottom. So -0.9 on this. As you can see, we've got ice on the end. So -0.9.
and this says negative 7 degrees. So that's a 6 degree difference. That's the thing with this fridge, it might actually be at 7 degrees where the thermometer is, but I don't know, who really knows. So anyway, we're gonna drop this into the water inside the Engel, and we'll see what happens. All right, so on the Engel here, we have a reading of -1 on the dot. So we're gonna just see what the thermometer says. I'll just quickly peek in there without losing as much temperature as possible. So 2.6 is the reading. So because of where the actual thermometer is placed in the fridge, we're possibly not getting an accurate reading of what it's actually like. So yeah, we see -1 here, but down at the bottom, it's actually like 2.6. And same here, we saw -7, but down at the bottom, it's actually -1. So we just pulled the thermometer out, swapped it over, and we've just thrown it into the Kings, and the water has frozen over. Like not fully, but the top is frozen over. So that's sort of your definitive answer as to which fridge gets cold quicker. This got cold quicker, but at the expense of more power draw. So that's one of the things you're gonna have to sort of weigh up. I don't think anyone's really like dying over having to wait an extra 20 minutes for their fridge to get down to -2 or 3 or whatever, but I don't know, that's just me.
Alright, so I think the Kings has definitely won the race to get to the lowest temp first. It is at -10, and this is still at -2. So on the way down to -10, the Kings fridge literally used double the power consumption as the Engel. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But what we're gonna do is level them out to about -3 degrees and get an average sort of power draw just on idle and see which one's the most efficient fridge. Another reason this fridge was probably drawing a heap more power is it has a max and eco mode. We were on the max power mode because it was a race, obviously, to get to the most coolest first. It's still drawing 60 watts, trying to get down to -18 right now. So what I'm gonna do is put on eco mode and see what sort of power difference it makes. So eco mode hit. See it drop. So it is gone from 60 down to 40 watts, which is about a 30% drop in power. This lines up a lot more closely to what the Engel did. The Engel was at 35 watts. So on eco mode, this is only drawing 40 watts. So obviously this is probably gonna then be a lot slower cooling down, but it will be closer to what your Engel sort of does. So I think we'll throw them both into idle and get a power reading of the fridges both on idle. So we'll do that now.
All right, so in regards to the whole idling power draw thing, we sort of figure that, like, so when your fridge gets to 4 degrees, the fridge ain't gonna use like half power to maintain. Pretty much how they work, and it's very evident with the Engel because you can hear it. It pretty much turns off when it's at the set temperature, and then as soon as it gets, you know, outside of a range of that temperature, it'll turn on, bring it back. And so it's essentially just turning on and off, maintaining that temperature. And so at the end of the day, what it comes down to is the ability of the fridge to insulate and hold the temperature within. Yeah. Because obviously you're going to get temperature loss, but if your fridge is better insulated, it will hold the temperature for longer, which means it has to turn on less and you'll use less power. Yeah. So,
and right now they both seem to be insulating about the same. Like we haven't heard either pump turn on yet.
No, this is turned off. This is off at the moment.
They're both
still holding 4 degrees.
Holding, not drawing any current. But I mean, we just did that test, right? You all saw that. They both work as fridges.
Yeah.
And they both get the job done. It comes down to like reliability. This has lasted 15 years.
Yeah, that's the only thing. So we can't vouch for the reliability of Kings because I've only had it for a year. Whereas this we've had for 15 and it has never stopped working.
No. Yeah.
And I've heard of people that have like the first gen Engel fridges and they're like 30 years old and they swear by them. I'm sure there are Engels that do break, but whereas with the Kings, they've only been out for a short amount of time, so no one in the world has been able to truly test the longevity of this.
There's no King's fridge that ran for 15 years.
Yeah, exactly.
No. So I mean, it comes down to obviously your budget. If you can only afford a $500 fridge, I mean, as I could, the King's one's perfectly fine for that. It's a good feed fridge and it does everything you need. But if you're setting up, maybe going around Australia a couple times or having it for life and you really want a decent fridge, I mean, Engels just seem to work and not stop.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and the construction, like that's yeah. So with the insulation, the King's is a lot of plastic, and it's obviously metal on the outsides. What's in between that? Some sort of insulating foam or whatever. I don't know what's in between. We've got them in shade here. If this is on the back of your ute, I don't know how that fares in the sun compared to this.
True.
So a lot of different factors. But in raw, if you want a fridge that will keep food cold and you're not too worried about weather conditions because it's going to be living in the back of your car and you're not super worried about power consumption because you only go out for 3 days at a time, then I mean, there's no reason not to buy a King's fridge at the end of the day.
Yeah, it seems to work for us. So, I mean...
Obviously as well, these aren't the only fridges on the market. I can think of heaps of other fridge brands that get tossed about. All the ones you see on bloody Forward Direction and that.
Yeah.
Coolman and Wacos and all those different things. And
yeah.
from what I understand, I don't know about the Wacos, but I think some of those are a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
To what, like a lot closer.
You'd probably
to
pass
the King's
them
fridge.
as in between a King's and an Engel. You'd probably put them in the middle there somewhere.
Yeah. But there's that many different fridges
There's
out
so
there
many.
these days. So
There's so many.
to sum up, the final question is, should you buy an Engel fridge over a King's fridge? Or say, not necessarily this, but a expensive fridge over a cheap fridge? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
No, I think you perfectly can get away. I mean, that's at the end of the day, like people talk crap on cheap products because they are less reliable, which I 100% agree with. But the thing is, they couldn't sell these things and produce them if they simply didn't work.
Yeah.
That's the end of the day. What it comes down to, they couldn't sell it if it didn't work. It has to work in order to be able to sell it. Like, same story with King's winches. So many people say, oh yeah, they like crap themselves straight away. They're useless, sort of thing. Which I 100% I would agree that there are plenty of crap King's winches out there that just die after a month's use or not even any use at all. I could 100% get behind that. But at the same time, there's enough winches out there that people buy and they work every time.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end of it, I don't know. It's one of those things you have to weigh up. Yeah, there might be at the end of the day, it's gonna work. But just who knows how long it'll work for.
So let us know in the comments, would you buy a King's fridge or would you go to brands like Engel, for instance? So I want to hear all your guys' experiences because we've only had these two fridges. Who knows what goes for other fridges out there?
Yeah, and you might have had a King's fridge that crapped itself within 2 months.
Yep, you don't know. So please, yeah, let us know in the comments because I'm interested to see how your guys' fridges will hold up. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little bit of an episode, a bit of an ISO episode. Can't do much, but only a couple more weeks now and hopefully we're out. So yeah, we got some exciting videos to come, so it's going to be good. So we'll see you guys next time. So thanks for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed it, and see you next time.